Alrighty, hey guys, it is Mitch Games 24/7 here today with another video for you guys, and today we're going to be talking about Fortnite and, well, the most sweaty servers out there. So we're going to go from easy to hard, pretty much. So this is a really simple one, but Brazil is arguably the most easy servers to, well, they have the most easy players. It's not really the most easy for me to play on. But from people who can actually play on the servers, they constantly say how easy the Brazilian servers are compared to other ones. So I'm just going to take their word for it. We're going to just cross Brazil off the list. Now, just remember, there could be some underground players there that could be really good. So just overall, we're basing this off of just overall how the servers feel. There could be, the world's best player could be from Brazil. That doesn't mean Brazil has the sweatiest players out there. So let's just start off with that. We'll preface that. The next is Asia. So I've actually had a fair bit of experience playing on the Asian servers on actually PUBG, which is another battle royale game, and I get that, you know, it's a different game, but the players are actually going to be like fairly similar. You know, it's really simple. The controls are the exact same. The only difference is Fortnite has building. Now, despite me being on 200 ping on Asian servers, I've actually played on them occasionally because I do have one of my friends who actually does live over there, so he actually has to play on the Asian servers. And from what he said, because he actually did recently move from OCE to Asia, he said Asian servers were significantly easier, as well as just, you know, me playing duos with him and whatnot. They are quite easy to play on, so there you go. So the Asia servers are probably the second easiest, I would say. Europe is actually quite decent. Europe has a lot of decent players out there, but it does have a massive player pool because it spans across so much of the world. So it's really hard to kind of like gauge it, I would say, because you could get like a mix of really good players and then you might get a mix of really bad players just because of how large that player pool is right there. But they do actually have some skirmish players, which is absolutely awesome. They do have their own qualifiers and whatnot, and the servers are going to be incredibly sweaty during those qualifiers. So obviously we have NA East, which I would argue is easier than West, and I have a lot of American friends as well who say the same thing, and that's where I'm basing this off. I got somebody from each region to pretty much tell me how they feel about it, and NA East is considered to be easier than West, unless it's skirmish time. And what I mean by that is most people who play in the skirmishes are actually from the NA West region and play on that. Now, with a lot of them actually out of the game, so to speak, West is perceived to be easier than East. Now, NA West actually has arguably the best players in the world. Like, some of the best players do play on NA West. So that's really good. But again, it has a really large player pool, being America. With an insane population, it has a really large player pool, so you're going to run into a lot of really good players, but you're also going to be running into some bots as well, so it is a really mixed bag there as to what you're going to find. But OCE, Oceania, this is actually my home server, and I am going to argue that it is literally the hardest servers out there. I actually just got a Snapchat that I'll whack up on screen from a subscriber of mine who plays on the OCE servers. Now, OCE, the thing is here, that because of how small the player pool here is, that it means that most lobbies are dominated by decent to really just godly players, making OCE the sweatiest server, even though it doesn't have the world's best players. Now, there is some insane players that I'll show off here in a second, but honestly, because of how small these servers are, obviously in OCE, 9 times out of 10, you're going to run into somebody who is fairly decent and competent at the game. There's going to be some absolute gods, there's going to be some absolute sweats, and there'll be some noobs, but not nearly as many noobs as you'll find on other servers, just because of the small population. And that's just one of the things we have to face, you know? I'm not very good. I'd say I'd probably like bottom tier decent. That's really about it. So when I jump into these servers, dude, I get my ass handed to me consistently. It just happens. There's only a select few people who I really think deserve to kind of stand at the top of OCE because of how sweaty it is. And honestly, I would say that the people here are actually controller players. Now I'm going to show you some clips right here of some of these players. Now, the clips you just watched were from Forbes. So this guy is from Australia like myself, and he is an OCE player, and he is absolutely insane at the game. Now, he has some ridiculous, obviously, clips that you just seen there for a controller player. Anyways, now I get the keyboard and mouse is completely better, man. It is, and that's facts. Don't even bother arguing it. Keyboard and mouse players are always going to have the leg up. But for a controller player, this guy is absolutely insane. Now, keep in mind that I am ranking this from a controller perspective, because I personally play on controller myself, and I've never ran into somebody quite like him, because he's fucking insane. He, like, puts most players to shame. Now, to give you a backstory as to some of the things you've seen here, because you've obviously only seen him building, you might not think he's the best shot. Now, this guy has had 37 kills in solo squads by himself, and he also, I believe at the moment, holds the world record for 61 kills in a game his squad got, which I believe is the world record. Don't quote me on that, it could have been beaten by the time we're recording this, but 61 kills his squad got in a single game, which is insane. Now, as I said Oceania is the Sweatiest service. He plays on the Sweatiest service. How did he get the world record of 61 kills? Now, this is actually a fun fact, guys, and I'm going to go into this, but Oceania, while having the hardest servers, there is actually a point of time where it is pretty much easy mode. Nobody builds. If you play from the hours of 4 AM through to 7 AM, you will get matched with absolute bots. I don't know why this is, but you get matched with people who are just really, really trash. Either they're on auto servers and they're getting put into Oceania, or they just suck. I don't know what exactly it is and how it happens, but literally from 4 AM to 7 AM, which is when these guys were playing, they play against just body players. Now, that doesn't take anything away from the record. I still think it's very, very impressive. Obviously, comment your thoughts down below. I'm going to be linking Forbes' channel as well. I highly recommend that you check him out. He just hit 100,000 subscribers, actually, and he's going to pass me in subs any moment. The guy is fantastic. He is a god. I suggest watching him. I really, really do. Now, he is an incredible player in his own right, but there are actually some other players out there in OCE who are just as insane as well. The next player I'm going to be talking about is Killshock HD. Now, this guy is absolutely insane. He's actually an old school builder, which I personally think holds him back a little bit just because of all the buffs that they give to Builder Pro players. Yeah, Builder Pro, that's the correct one. So Builder Pro players obviously have a big advantage over old school players. Old school players do have it very rough, but he's just never adjusted. He has tried switching to Builder Pro and he does struggle with it a little bit. But the unique thing about Killshock is the fact that I would say that his building is really, really good, but the building isn't actually what defines what makes him good. I think the thing that makes him really, really good is, honestly, it's his accuracy. Like, the accuracy the guy has is absolutely nutty, and the speed of his edits is insane. So what he does is, it's called toe edits. So basically, he has a keyboard on the ground, and he literally uses, like, the toe of his foot to press down on, I believe, the spacebar for editing. Now, this actually makes it so that there's zero edit delay, and some people are really against this and some people are all for it. Personally, I don't see an issue with it because he's not actually using keyboard and mouse. He's just using one button on a keyboard to kind of bypass the edit, like the edit delay. So I think it's a really smart thing that he's doing there, and it does definitely work. So I'm going to show you some clips here, and he's just insane, man. He is absolutely insane. If you look at this guy play, like, he is a freak of nature at the game. Like, hands down, I duo with this guy a lot. If I'm ever playing with him, 9 times out of 10, it's a win. Like, he is just insane. He's that much better than, like, every other player out there. He really is. He's that good. Now, if you were to put him against some of the world's best players, I'm sure, you know, he'll have a hard time, obviously, being on the original old school controls there. But if you put him into a regular pubs game, man, he's gonna, like, slap pretty much everybody in there, regardless of how sweaty OCE is. So a lot of people actually in OCE, and this is the thing as to why it's so sweaty, right? Because you probably, I'm showing off these examples of people just clapping OCE players. You're thinking, dude, you're talking out your ass. The problem with OCE and why it's so sweaty is, again, because of the small player base. But some of these guys have, like, Discord servers, right, with, like, you know, 15, 20,000 people in it at any stage, and they're all queuing up, trying to get into scrim games, and it just turns regular pubs, as of, like, in nighttime, which is particularly when I stream, into just scrim lobbies. Like, if you go into a regular solo, or duo, or even squads on certain nights, you're more than likely going to get matched up into a potential scrims game, and it's just going to be sweaty as hell. And even if you don't get into the scrim game, you might get the leftovers who didn't end up getting into the scrim game, so you're still going up against sweaty players anyways. It's a little bit shitty, and I wish Epic would add something in so that we could properly scrim, but unfortunately I don't see them doing that for a while here. But as I said, Killshock here, Forbes, both very, very good players. Another man I would recommend that you check out is Zabi. I'm sure you already know who he is, so I won't tell you too much about him, but he is a god, and honestly, they're all going to be linked down below, and you should definitely check them all out. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is going to conclude the video. So let me know what you guys thought of the video and these players. I obviously recommend checking them out. They are absolutely insane players. And I know that I spoke a lot about OCE and not really too much about the other regions. But as I said, I do play in OCE, and I'm just giving you my personal feedback. You're more than welcome to disagree with what I've said here, because it isn't 110% facts. It's more so an opinion that I'm just giving to you guys, and kind of giving you guys some facts to go with it. But again, it is just an opinion. We can't be 110% sure, and it really just comes down to the luck of the lobby at the end of the game anyway. So there you guys have it. But let me know what you guys thought of the video in the comments section below. If you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing. I would appreciate it. We are coming up on 122,000 subscribers, wanting to end the year on that, hopefully. Anyways, guys, that's going to conclude the video. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in another video.